The new age of agriculture.
Grain growers are pleasantly surprised by the turnout of young producers seeking guidance for our state's ag future. Thanks for watching on this Wednesday afternoon.
We'll have more from the Grain Growers Annual Conference in a moment. First, the Idaho suspect who dropped his kidnapping victim off in Glendive, Montana on Sunday is now in custody.
Mitchell Lee Walk was arrested in Bismarck, North Dakota. The 57-year-old reportedly fired at an Idaho State police trooper, then ran last weekend. He's accused of kidnapping a 62-year-old Rathdrum, Idaho woman, then releasing her unharmed in Glendive. The FBI says a man found Walk inside his vehicle at a Bismarck truck stop this morning. Walk reportedly threatened the man with a gun and then ran away. Police found Walk hiding under a tree. He had a handgun in his waistband at the time of his arrest. We'll have more on his crimes tonight at 10.
The pedestrians who were hit by a car last night on 10th Avenue South are still hospitalized, according to Great Falls Police. The man and woman waited for the walk signal before trying to cross the street at around 7 Tuesday evening. A car turning right onto 10th Avenue South did not see the pair and hit them just as they left the sidewalk. Police tell us one of the individuals suffered broken bones. The other is dealing with a head injury. The driver of the vehicle has been cited with failing to yield to a pedestrian in a walkway.
In the last 2 months, 2 Great Falls homes have been busted for being at the center of methamphetamine operations.
Investigators are the ones actually putting the drug dealers behind bars, but observant neighbors play a bigger role in those busts than you might imagine. Just last week, this apartment on 16th Street North was raided after the resident was allegedly caught dealing meth. Detective Sergeant Chris Hickman tells us the Russell Country Drug Task Force started surveillance on the home months ago, partly because police received several calls from concerned neighbors. Hickman says if you happen to notice anything suspicious in your neighborhood, it's better to call than to be sorry you never tried.
Folks also have to understand that we may not be able to get to it right away because of the volume of investigations that we're involved in, but it is a priority, and this is a perfect example of where some information came forward from some folks that resulted in our putting this kind of at the top of the priority list.
Hickman says this particular home was seeing an extremely high volume of traffic and drugs going through up until the day the resident was arrested. When authorities get a call about suspicious behavior, they typically check out the area within a couple of days. Hickman wants people to know when they call in, dispatchers may get their information, but the task force keeps that caller identification anonymous. Things Hickman says to watch for in your area are a number of different vehicles making quick stops or an increased number of people visiting at night. He also wants people to remember if your instincts tell you that something's off, it's always better to let the authorities know.
Temperatures are falling this afternoon as wintry weather returns to the Treasure State.
Mike, it's getting colder, but how about the chances for any snow?
Katie and Tim, I think as we head through the next 24, 48, 72 hours, we'll start to see our chances for snow going up. The windy weather out there coming to an end quickly here in the next hour or two. Still getting some wind gusts up around 30 to 35 miles per hour, but the temperatures are dropping. We're down to 41 degrees in Great Falls, 30 in Cut Bank, and 42 right now in Lewistown. We'll look ahead to your Thursday forecast coming up.
Thanks, Mike. An Alabama company has their sights set on an area north of Choteau and to bring in new development and more than 100 jobs.
KRTV's Beth Beachy shares how the Southern Company's plans will impact a popular program at Great Falls College MSU.
Yates Construction is making moves to start a module assembly plant just north of Choteau. And for a company that's stayed mostly in the South, they're anxious to get started in Montana.
We always try to be a good part of the community and give back. And we prefer to hire local people. It's a win-win for everybody, and that's what we intend to do here.
Yates aims to pre-assemble key parts that will be useful in the Canadian oil sands and in the Williston Basin. And in its first year of assembly, King estimates close to 150 jobs for Montanans.
If this facility gets all the way up to the potential it has, there would be quite a few more.
And as the facility grows, so will Great Falls College MSU's welding program, which will eventually tailor to the jobs Yates Construction will offer. And that leaves those involved with the welding program excited for job prospects and more students.
With upcoming companies coming into the area and the prospective companies that want to come into the area, it's really, really exciting.
This spring, 20 students will be added to the welding program, and by August, they aim to have 60 students total.
We're working on the right things. We're working on the needs that we have to get to.
And over time, these students will get the certifications that will enable them to hit the ground running should they get hired on with Yates. In Great Falls, Beth Beachy, MTN News.
And students who join the program this January term are expected to complete it by July of 2013.
Farmers and ranchers from across the state are in Great Falls this week for the annual Grain Growers Association Conference. This year's hot topic is the Farm Bill as advocates work toward a solution to get it passed by the end of the year. A new addition to this year's conference is a program focusing on young farmers and ranchers. To kick off the conference, the program focused on marketing and crop insurance. Organizers were surprised to have nearly 80 young prospects sign up.
The business of farming and ranching is so intensified with capital and knowledge. Your knowledge base has to be there at the get-go. You can't learn on the job. You've got to have a pretty good understanding, and we're there to help them with that so that they can become profitable sooner rather than later.
The trade show is also an important part of the annual Grain Growers Conference. Dozens of vendors line the reception hall showing off the latest technology in farming and ranching equipment. Booth space is sold out every year. This year is no exception.
Pondera Medical Center in Conrad has opened the doors to a major addition this week.
KRTV's Tara Grimes takes us inside the new urgent care clinic.
How about treatment for viral conjunctivitis?
Pondera Medical Center has a new urgent care clinic, and Chris Mew has a new home for growing his medical career.
I like to see all different age patients. I get to see pediatric patients, I get to see geriatric patients, and everyone in between.
Mew started at Pondera Medical Center as a student. Now he's the clinic's family physician's assistant.
I've always wanted to do this, and so now I get to do it every day.
Although the rooms where he will eventually see patients are still being converted from offices to examination rooms, he and the staff say they are already seeing the impact on their patients.
He's already seen a lot of patients in the last 2.5 days he's been here. So we know this is going to be a great success.
By having the walk-in clinic, staff says the number of visits to the emergency room should be reduced.
Too often emergency rooms are where people go when they have head colds, runny noses, sore throats, and a primary care provider, somebody like Chris, can actually provide much better medical care, get to know the entire person, get to know the family, and do it at a much cheaper cost.
The clinic says patients could see 30% lower cost in their bills compared to a visit to the ER. As for Mew, he says he just wants to provide the best care possible to his patients.
Because there are patients that have tried to see us before and we've been full. We are a busy clinic. And so this way there's always someone that has the time to see them, no matter what the circumstances, and I think that the community will appreciate that.
In Conrad, Tara Grimes, MTN News.
Mew is currently seeing about 8 patients a day. He hopes that number will average about 20 a day in the near future.
Coming up later this week, city court defendants can pay their fines with peaches, pears, potato soup, or any other canned food. The annual canned food day is this Friday from 7:30 until 4:30. Defendants who are currently making monthly payments on fines can bring in food in lieu of December's payment. Those defendants can receive up to $50 off of their fine by bringing in 10 cans or more. The food will go to the Great Falls Community Food Bank. If defendants are not current on fines or are paying only restitution, owe money on collections, have an active warrant, or have a deferred prosecution agreement, they are not eligible to participate in Canned Food Day. Nearly 21,000 pounds of food has been collected over the past 2 years. All right, Mike joins us now. Our wind hopefully going away, but the cooler temperatures also coming our way.
A lot of folks not happy about that wind today. It is starting to die down. We're already seeing the numbers tumble just a bit. We're also seeing the temperatures tumble. We were in the 50s earlier. We made it to 55 in Great Falls, now 41 degrees. Stay with us. My complete forecast is next when the 5:30 news rolls on.